This is what the Las Vegas Raiders need to do in the 2023 NFL Draft. Ryan Wilson and Josh Edwards from With the First Pick podcast here to provide an ultimate mock draft for the team with the number 7 overall pick. Let's jump into the NFL mock draft database simulator. All right, at the top, let's do a quick recap, Devo, for people tuning in to see what the Raiders do. At the top, Carolina gets Anthony Richardson. What? Bryce Young goes second to Houston. Then it's Christian Gonzalez third to Arizona. C.J. Stroud goes fourth to Indianapolis. So 3 quarterbacks are off the board. Jalen Carter goes fifth to Seattle. And finally, Will Anderson goes to Detroit. So we're up here, Las Vegas, picking 7. Tyree Wilson's there. Devin Witherspoon's there. And I mentioned Devin Witherspoon, Josh, because we had BMAC on the With the First Pick podcast to talk about the defensive backs class. And both he and Rick Spielman said that it would not be silly to take Devin Witherspoon at 7 overall.
I'm on board with that. Yeah, he's one of my favorite players in the class to watch because of the aggressive mentality that he brings to the football field. I think his teammates feed off of his energy. It's a position of need for Las Vegas. So I'm good there. I'm also good with Tyree Wilson, the edge rusher from Texas Tech, because Chandler Jones is getting up there in age. Maybe you're looking for an off-ramp out of his contract, a little transition of power to youth movements across from Max Crosby. So those would be the 2 players that I'm considering, although the offensive line is tantalizing too.
No Will Levis in the conversation? The last remaining quarterback on the board?
Yeah, that would be a conversation as well. Yeah, Las Vegas met with him when he had his pro day in Lexington, so that would certainly be a consideration. There's been this talk that they wouldn't be interested in anybody outside of Bryce Young and maybe C.J. Stroud. That could be a smokescreen. We've heard that they're not interested in Jalen Carter, but they brought him in for a top 30 visit. So I feel like this is a team that's probably trying to do a little bit of misdirection.
I'm of the opinion that Devin Witherspoon should be the pick here, only because while they do have a ton of needs on defense, when you look at the secondary, Duke Shelley, who they just got, is penciled as a starter at left cornerback. Nate Hobbs is the nickelback. David Long Jr. is the starter at right. I mean, there's some real glaring holes in the secondary. And you have Jimmy G, you have Max Crosby, and maybe Chandler Jones can find a spark for a few games, even though that's a need. Maybe we circle back on edge rusher. I think we go Devin Witherspoon here. You okay with that?
Yeah, I'm good with it because I think this is a team that feels they are in a competing window. So you want to get a player that's going to make an immediate impact.
All right. The good thing about picking high is you pick high in the next round. So we're picking 38th in the second round here. And maybe we see what we have an edge rush if we want. Maybe offensive line could be a target. All right, here we go. Edge rushers, Tommy Adebawore is at the top. PJ Ojolari is still there. Keon White, who I like a lot. You're not as high on Keon White, correct?
I understand the belief in his upside, but I'm not as high on what we've already seen on film to this point.
Fair enough. Drew Sanders is there. Linebacker defense is a need, but I wouldn't put him at the top. Brian Branch. Do you double down on the cornerbacks and get a safety, a nickel player, and Brian Branch? Go back to the edge rush tab, Debo, so we see what we have there. So BJ Ojolari, Keon White, Isaiah Foskey. I don't think I'd take him this high. Derek Hall, he's a good player. Maybe you wait a little bit. You pick at 70 as well. Maybe he's there. Let's see, Andre Carter. I think that's when we have to take a break because Andre Carter's not going to go this high. And then look at the offensive tackles. So DeJuan Jones is still there. The talent's there. I struggle with everything else. Matthew Bergeron, I'd like maybe wait one more round on him. Jalen Duncan, and scroll down a hair. Let's see what's after Jalen Duncan, Debo. Tyler Steen, and then Blake Freeland. So we're going to have to wait on those guys. All right. How are we attacking this, Josh?
My decision would come down to either Drew Sanders or Brian Branch. I would have loved to get an offensive lineman, but I think if you're looking at the talent available, Brian Branch is probably the top player on my board right now. So that would be the direction I go.
Let me ask you a question. What about Jahmyr Gibbs? Josh Jacobs on the franchise tag. After that, it's Amir Abdullah, Brandon Bolin, Zamir White, he drafted last year. No Jahmyr Gibbs?
It's a consideration. I love Jahmyr Gibbs. I have a first-round grade on him, one of my top 10 players in this class.
Whoa.
Very high on him. It's just that Josh Jacobs situation. I feel like they want him back. Maybe they're not able to come to an agreement, but it's that in the back of my mind that's giving me a little bit of hesitation.
Okay. Brian Branch it is, Debo. So we're going to double up on defense and not overthink it. Defense has to improve in that division. So that's what they do. Pick 70. We'll see where we are with some of these edge rushers, some of these offensive linemen. Part of me thinks offensive line might. Let's check out the offensive line first, because those guys, if they're gone, we're going to have to reevaluate. So Jalen Duncan's still there. Tyler Steen's still there. Tyler Steen, I heard, is going to go. He has a chance to go in the second round. And Vanderbilt transfer, Alabama, had a good pro day, had a good season. Left tackle, can kick inside, potentially play guard. So Tyler Steen's a choice, or go edge rusher, Debo. Let's see where we are, the depth there. Derek Hall's there. He's a good player. Byron Young out of Tennessee, the edge rusher, a little older, Yaya Diaby. Anything stick out to you here, Josh?
I really want to take offensive line. I'm not quite as high on Tyler Steen, but if you think that's a good value, I'm okay with it here.
All right, let's go. We got it. We got to do this. We can't sit around an offensive line and then get end up losing out on all these guys. I like Blake Freeland, excuse me, who's on the board as well, but he's got to gain weight and get stronger. So Tyler Steen it is. Hit the button, Debo. Turn it in. All right, pick 100. That has to be a good sign. We have actually up. I can't read. Pick 109. Sorry, terrible sign. Round 4. Here we go. So we have 2 secondary players. We got an offensive tackle here, potential guard if we need it. All right, we're looking at the board here. Anything stick out to you? I mean, Gervon Dexter. We're now.
I think this is going to be a short conversation, because I think you and I are both on board with Gervon Dexter here to add a little bit of mass along that interior defensive line.
By the way, this is pick 100. I was right. I misread. So yeah, this is a good sign. So this is good news for Dexter. Get his head on straight, focus on football. And what better place to do that than Las Vegas? Let's take him here at pick 100. More help on the defense. His best football is ahead of him. All right, now we're to pick 109. Now we're into the 4th round. What do you think? Do we need to think about receiver at all? I mean, obviously Devontae Adams is on the team. Jacoby Myers is signed with the team, but he's more possession guy. He's not going to outrun a lot of people. They have Phillip Dorsett, Keelan Cole, and Hunter Renfrow still there, although there was some conversation earlier this offseason that maybe he would get moved. Any thoughts about adding some dynamism to the wide receiver core? Or are we okay with where we're at?
I think I'm okay with where they're at currently. Now, if they were to move a Hunter Renfrow, I don't think they're going to move Devontae, but if they were to move Hunter Renfrow, that obviously opens up some doors. So I would probably go in a different direction. I might even double dip on the offensive lineman here.
All right, let's take a look at the offensive lineman, Debo. So Wanya Morris, who I like, that after that it gets a little rich for me. Let's look at the interior offensive line, Debo. So Whippler's there. Their center right now is Andre James, with Ronis Grasu, of course, as the backup. I mean, I didn't know that was a real person. Emil Ikior still there. Chandler Zavala is a name that jumps out to me, and he didn't get invited to the combine for some reason. Shrine Bowl participant, and he is nasty. Played interior at NC State at the guard position. Maybe he has some flexibility in terms of playing center. I don't know. What do you think about Chandler Zavala?
I like it. He's a player that's getting a lot of buzz right now, so I'm good with adding a little bit more depth to our interior offensive line. Allow those guys to compete, if nothing else.
There you go. Done. All right. Back on the clock at pick 141. Now in round 5. So we pick at 141 and 144. So we'll see how this shakes out. Kayshon Bouttie's still there. He can stay there. DeMarvin Overshown, I really like as an athlete playing in the middle of a defense. They have Robert Spillane. They signed from the Steelers. He's more brains than Braun in terms of being a high-end athlete, but he's a smart, good player. Devon Diablo out of Virginia Tech, the sort of safety he moved to closer to the line of scrimmage, is also on the roster there. Anything stick out to you at that position, or we go somewhere else?
My consideration would probably be Overshown or Riley Moss.
I'd say Riley Moss is still there.
Yeah, just throwing another log into that cornerback fire, allowing those guys to compete. That would be my consideration. Tight end would be one that we haven't really addressed. They have a need there as well.
I say we take Riley Moss and then look at the tight ends 3 picks from now. So I'm fine with Riley Moss because they need a lot of help on the secondary. All right, so hit the tight end button, Debo. I bet we still got, Zach Kuntz is still there. Let's see who else is still there. Josh Wiley, Cameron Latu, Will Mallory, Davis Allen. Scroll down a little bit. Maybe some guys slipped it. Payne Durham, Braden Willis, Vokalek out of Nebraska. You have a favorite among that group?
A favorite of that group would be Davis Allen. If Overshone is still available, I'm okay with that as well. I didn't see if he went off
Let's
the
see if
board
he's
the
still
last
there,
two
Debo.
picks. Yeah, I mean, he's still there. So,
Oh, let's take him. Yeah, let's not
yeah.
overthink it. So, oh my gosh, we're crushing this defense. Love it. So now we're to pick 174, still in round 5, and we still have 4 more picks to go. So we have something to work with here. So they're the tight ends. So I think that scroll down a little bit. Oh, someone took Davis Allen. Look at that.
Yep.
They reached into our bag of tricks and took Davis Allen from us. All right, let's go to the overall big board, Debo. Let's see what else is there because we're doing best player available. Jalen Jones, I think, was consideration. Ivan Pace Jr. is another great. Like Deuce Vaughn, I love, but this is too early for him, in my opinion. Olu Oluwatimi. We got Zavala.
I'm not as high on him. Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. Good to know. Brayden Daniels has position flexibility, but he's a tackle guard. I don't think he has center in his future, at least not immediate future. Any of these names stick out to you?
Yeah, I would go back towards the top. One of those two guys there at the top of the board, either Jalen Jones, Ivan Pace, Nick Broker, somewhere in there, just because I think they are probably the best options available on what we're looking at. I know we've already addressed those positions.
No, I like it. I said we go Ivan Pace Jr. He's a destructo in the middle of the field.
He gives you a little bit of something different too. He's not Drew Sanders in this draft class. He gives you a little bit of something different. So that's a good consideration there.
Round 6, pick 204, I believe is where we're at. Is that right, Debo? Yes, pick 204. So, Debo, hit the quarterbacks tab. And if my guy's still there, I'm going to try to sell him on Josh. He's not. Someone took Dorian Thompson-Robinson. Dang it. I was going to try to talk you into Dorian Thompson-Robinson just for a little versatility. All right, hit
he just went too. It was the.
Dang it, Debo! I told you to call the guy and trade up with Houston. All right, hit the big board. Let's see what we got to deal with. I'm fuming at Debo. All right, Terrell Smith's there. So we just got Ivan Pace Jr. I say we take Terrell Smith and keep stockpiling secondary members and second level defenders. All right, Terrell Smith, long cornerback out of Minnesota. Next up, pick 214 in round 6.
How many picks do they have? We talking 12, 15 picks here?
12 picks. I got 12 picks. Hit the running back button, Debo. I want to see, add some depth. If we have any guys. Mo Ibrahim's coming off the injury. Evan Hull, I know that we both like. Hunter Lupke adds something as sort of a fullback type. And then I think it's a little slim pickings. All right. Any of these names you want right now in the middle of 6, or you want to look elsewhere?
How do you feel about a Jalen Redmond or Nick Hampton?
I feel great about that. So Hampton, another, I think a 230-pound edge rusher maybe has to move to off ball. And then Jalen Redmond, I think we go Jalen Redmond. I think he has a chance to get drafted higher than this. Another defensive lineman, adding depth, just stockpiling defenders. So now we have 2 picks in round 7, starting with pick 220. All right. Nick Hampton's still there. You want to do that?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. So edge rush ability, maybe he moves around. Designated pass rusher, as our guy Rick Spiel likes to call him. And finally, with our final pick, 231, hit the tight end button, Debo. Just see if there's anyone there worth sniffing around. Will Mallory sticks out. Payne Durham sticks out. I don't know if any of those guys do anything for you. Will Mallory's probably a little better athlete. Payne Durham's a little better blocker. I don't know if
I would go with Will Mallory.
Okay, let's do it. Will Mallory, last pick of this draft for the Las Vegas Raiders. 12 picks. They have to get better. And addition by subtraction with Derek Carr. I'm just kidding. I like Derek Carr. Some people obviously don't. That's on them. All right, let's go through this thing. Devin Witherspoon is the 7th overall pick. That is not too early. Don't be angry about that. Brian Branch at pick 38, stocking up the defensive backfield there. Tyler Steen at pick 70, position flexibility, tackle, perhaps guard. Gervon Dexter, interior defensive lineman, huge upside if he's focused. Same with Chandler Zavala. Didn't go to the combine for some reason, but he's a really good football player at guard. Riley Moss, he had the best recon, I think, at the combine among the defensive backs, which really gets your attention. DeMarvion Overshone at linebacker. Same with Ivan Pace Jr. out of Cincinnati. Terrell Smith, the long corner out of Minnesota at pick 204. Jalen Redmond adds depth along the defensive line. Nick Hampton, edge rusher who maybe moves to off ball. And finally, Will Mallory, tight end out of the U. That's all 12 picks. And that wraps up the perfect Raiders draft class. Make sure to subscribe to NFL on CBS on YouTube and download the With the First Pick podcast. Stay tuned for more Ultimate Mock Drafts.